What is going on, everyone? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Looks like the audio is coming through. Let me know about the mic if we need to turn it up any more than we have it. I'll trickle it up a little bit if we need to. Questions, fire those away. We're going to do Best Ball Mania. There's really nothing right now. I'm kind of surprised. Maybe I'll refresh it. They entered the, they had like a $75 double, triple entry, something like that. And so I was going to join that, like over time, get one in the middle, a couple towards the end. The thing filled instantly. I feel like whenever they put out those like $50 to $100 ones, they're filling like right away. They need to make those ones bigger or something. But the puppy filled, and they haven't done anything else with it. They have whatever the Badge Bros things is. We're not going to be whatever this is. I don't know. We're not joining that. We're going to do Best Ball Mania. I'm going to join that in about 10 seconds. So if you are watching this, you want to join it, join now. We're doing the 20 second, obviously. Again, they shrunk the 20 and the 30 second. All right. Let's enter it. See what pick we get. Been liking, honestly, the mid pick a little bit more as I've come around on Puka. Basically, we've always had this 6, right? And to start the summer, I was like, picks like 7, 8 kind of stink because you're the first to draft this tier of very, very good players. And I thought there was a lot of them. Honestly, at this point, I'm pretty locked in on Puka neighbors at 7, 8. And I like teams that have that mid pick because we also get that kind of, we get to do a little bit of draft strategy in terms of like when you're at the poll, it's kind of difficult to be like, oh, I'll like wait on this player, try to get them in the next round. You can't do that as much because it's like, there's 24 picks to go by. Like I have no idea what's going to be able the next time. So when we have these mid picks, I really like from a strategy perspective. Because it's like, okay, we have like, 8 to 10 picks that are going to go by. And again, I like Puka and neighbors a lot this season. I like starting off with wide receiver a lot. So since I've been, having that 7, 8 kind of locked in, I've liked pick 7 and 8 a little bit more. But really, again, every pick is very, very good this season. All right. Questions. You're drafting first overall this year. Congratulations. Round 7, I'm assuming that means Javonte Williams. Seems like a good pick. 7? I don't know. It depends how camp goes. We're going to learn that battle a lot through camp. Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Miles Sanders? Jaden Blue? Is it going to be a combination? Do they bring someone else in? Like, so many possibilities there. Camp just opened up today. Thank goodness. We're finally getting reports out of camp that are going to be real and to see these players play, get real reports. So we'll see. Oh, we get 8. Speak of it. So I like this pick now. I think right now, if I was drafting, round 7 feels very aggressive. For Javonte Williams, I would not go that early. I don't think you have to go that early. 14-team Superflex or 2 quarterbacks flying off the board at 103. Assuming Allen and Lamar are gone, who would you take? 6-point passing touchdown as well. Didn't say if it was full PPR or half PPR. I don't think in the question. No, I would probably not. I know if quarterbacks are going to go. I don't think you have to go. I'll open up the Superflex rankings just to confirm this. I don't think you have to be just like hammering quarterbacks in a Superflex league. Obviously, we want a lot of the good quarterbacks, but I would still go Chase, assuming it's full PPR. You have more of an option of Saquon if it's half PPR. I have right now the Superflex. I'll show you guys right now. Here. These are, my goodness. These are the Superflex rankings right now for full PPR. I have Chase, Lamar, Allen, Daniels. So, like, yeah, you have that trio kind of at the top. Definitely value there. But I think I would still go Chase. He's just so much better in full PPR. And in half, I feel like I would probably go Saquon. But it kind of comes up to how you want to draft that one. But then, yeah, after that kind of 5 go, I'd probably be in this range. Like, I would still be going after the skill players instead of taking, like, the, mid-range of quarterback. Which, honestly, if you want a quarterback take, watch tomorrow's video. We're going to the quarterback rankings in tomorrow's video. Wow, Saquon at 6. Kind of crazy. Yeah, watch that video for my take on just like kind of not liking the mid-range of quarterback because the top end's amazing. So if you want to lock one of those up at 3, I guess go for it. But I really like kind of the tail end of quarterback this season. Interesting start here. And we're finally getting into the normies drafting a little bit more. Not in this draft. We have all the badges kind of present in this one. But the normies are drafting a little bit more often. They keep moving this thing around. And we're getting different first rounds. So everything was, I wouldn't even say pretty standard. I mean, Chase, Bijan, Jefferson is a pretty standard top 3, but Lamb going at 4 ahead of Gibbs and Saquon is a little surprising, I guess, to see. But not crazy. But then Gibbs going ahead of Saquon. I don't know. The Saquon hate is crazy this season. I mean, people are just like absolutely convinced that he's not going to stay healthy, even though all the data suggests that when players get as many touches as he had last season, they're actually more likely to stay healthy. I don't know what people are listening to that's telling them that that's not the case, but the data suggests that people who get as many touches as he had last year, most of them have stayed healthy. Most of them got a ton of touches the following season. All right. We're going to be up here. So we have a wide receiver. We'll be at 17. We're going to get a great player here too. Again, I really like this mid-first round right now. I would have probably taken Drake London, but we're not going to be sad about getting Derrick Henry at pick 17. So we'll take him, and we're going to start off the draft. Puka Nacua, Derrick Henry. Very, very, very strong start. And I'll pull up. Come on. Pull the board for you all. So again, I don't know. Recently, I've been liking getting this mid-round because I mean, Puka, I mean, he could be the number 1 wide receiver this season. Like, you look at his like route success rate, you look at just like the crazy amount of targets, like targets per route run, just the ultimate target earner. Yes, he has the risk of like, Stafford's 37 and a half years old. Adams being there, but Adams at the tail end of his career, I know he's still going to be good, but he's not going to challenge Puka as at number 1. And I think Stafford's still got a year or 2 left in him. And man, if everyone can stay healthy there, I mean, I talk about Neighbors having 200 target upside. Puka could have 200 target upside on a better offense. And if he hits for touchdowns, like everyone thinks obviously that, Adams, and rightfully so, Adams coming in there, he's an ultimate touchdown scorer. Puka just hasn't really been involved in the red zone throughout his career. If that flips and Puka has the target share that he can command with like 10 or 12 touchdowns, I mean, he could very easily be the number 1 overall wide receiver. So it's a great spot being able to get him. Okay. Your league added a second flex spot this year. 12-team full PPR, running back, wide receiver flex spots. Should this make a difference in how you draft more wide receiver lean? No. I mean, yes and no. So it makes a difference in how you draft in terms of like devaluing quarterback and tight end, because you're probably not going to use that extra flex spot at those positions. So you just want running back, wide receiver more. Being full PPR, you also do lean wide receiver over running back because it's much easier to predict, at least from like a season long standpoint. So teams that go more wide receiver heavy in those formats tend to do better because we can predict which wide receivers are going to have heavy volume. They get injured at a lower rate. So you're just safer building a team, not necessarily going like full on like RB0, but yeah, I mean, a hero RB build is like really strong in a format like that. That's what I would lean towards. Adding that flex spot just gives you a lot more upside there. Okay. We'd 100% go Adams to pair with Puka Nacua if we could get him. If not, I'd be fine with Garrett Wilson. No, Adams goes. I'd be fine with Garrett Wilson and fine with Breece Hall. I don't think we have a huge issue in terms of the Terry McLaurin holdout, but I'm not pumped that he's holding out, obviously. And every, day that he misses in camp elevates the chance that he gets injured. I think we just take top player in the range. Oh, wait, no. If we can get it. All right. I didn't see it down there. Lamar makes more sense. We already have Derrick Henry, so we don't need a second running back. Pair Lamar with Henry. Hope that they have just an unbelievable season. We're getting every single touchdown on the Baltimore Ravens if Baltimore ends up being the number 1 scoring team. I think this makes sense. Maybe this will be a Flowers team. I never draft Zay Flowers. It'll only be on Lamar Jackson teams. But yeah, I think it made more sense. Someone's getting a really good value on Breece Hall. And this team is probably not going to go 3 running. Oh, they do go 3 running back. They're going Genty, Achane, and Breece Hall. Wow. Okay. Question is, what do we do with this pick at 41? Like, would be pretty unique going with like a Daniels, or because one of these guys got McLaurin though, right? Yeah, this guy's going to go Daniels. So we won't get Daniels. But McLaurin, like, would we go Kittle here and do like our core pillar strategy of just trying to hit on the number 1 in each position? Because we could. I kind of want to do it. I don't think we have to go wide receiver. I think we just assume that Puka goes off. All right. Let's draft Kittle. Let's get one of Andrews or Likely, and we'll call it a day at tight end. Whoa. Easy. All right. I like this start. Again, we're kind of anchoring to Puka here. We're going to need a lot of wide receivers, but the next 2 picks, 56 and 65, should be good spots for wide receiver. I don't love 80, 89 as much, or probably at the tail end there, but these two should be good at both running back and receiver. We're not going to go quarterback at that spot unless like Jalen Hurts was somehow available at 56. We'd go for it, but he won't be. Odds are we're going to take 2 wide receivers coming up here. All right. Any Superflex mock drafts coming up, or any Superflex content? Specifically, want to know strategies for taking tier 2 quarterbacks versus tier 1 running back and receiver. So not really. There's not enough days in the year to kind of produce Superflex content sometimes, just because so few people actually like watch it. I will say in the app, I like have, I believe now I'm second guessing it. No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Superflex is in there. So in the strategy section, strategy helper, it has data from Superflex leagues where you can put in and see how value changes, see where you should be drafting positions. Worst thing you can do is draft quarterback in Superflex. I kind of went over that a second ago. I still have, I don't actually, I deleted them. Had the Superflex rankings up a second ago. I would say, like, if you start with a round 1 quarterback, I would not target quarterback again until you get into that, like, Drake May, McCarthy, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, like that sort of range, maybe Fields. Definitely wouldn't take a quarterback until that range. I would probably want, again, watch tomorrow's video because it's literally a quarterback video, and I do mention Superflex in the video. I wouldn't want to go into like the quarterback like 21 to 26 range, I think it is. You want top 20. So I probably want 3 top 20 quarterbacks. If you draft a top 5 quarterback, I think it's fine to be drafting your 3rd in that 21 to 26 range, but I would want to heavily focus on like the quarterback like 10 to 20 range and like really be targeting then. So my lean would be like maybe 2 skill players in a row and then go to quarterback, but it also becomes like how fast is your lead drafting quarterback. If they're just like skipping the position, you can maybe afford to do so as well, but yeah, it comes down to your draft in that one. Okay, at 56, obviously Flowers makes a ton of sense to continue that build. Flowers goes pick before us. Then we'll go with Waddle. Waddle is clearly the top player in my rankings. He's top by ADP. Whenever that happens, it's a good pick to make. I was going to say give us some time, but it's a pretty obvious pick for us to make. So we take Waddle, another very high, especially weekly upside player. At 65, let's kind of play this one out. We're not going to go with a tight end, and we're not going to go with a quarterback. So it's only running back and receiver. I would take Ridley. I would take Adunze. I would take Olave. I would take RJ Harvey. And I would take Jawan. I would very much like one of those players. I think that, like, Judy's fine. Addison's fine. Connor's fine. But it'd be really, really nice if we get one of those 4. So we're going to need 2 people to reach, which is probably actually not going to happen. Maybe this guy, these 2 teams have 4 wide receivers. Maybe they just don't want to draft a wide receiver. But this guy's probably going to draft a receiver, and this guy's probably going to draft a receiver, and they're probably going to be the 2 that we want. So we should probably game plan. Okay, we have 1 reach. We need 1 more. It just has to happen. 1 person has to reach. One of you please do it. If we don't get, do we go Judy? Judy falls is why I hesitate, because I have a ton of Jerry Judy, and he falls a lot of times, so I'd like to get him at value. Oh, that's going to be painful. It's going to be right before us. But yeah, I think we have to take Judy. Because I don't think we go running back. I think we want to be loading up on receiver now. You got 2 seconds. Oh, they take Travion. Wonderful. Okay. So this is a very good start. Jawan's going to get a deal. They're not going to let him be traded away. We have Kittle and Jawan for a potential Purdy stack. Purdy is going to go a round pick like 110. Hey, how it's doing this like lag thing when it opens up. So open it the other way next time. We're going to be at pick 104. So actually, he goes up pick 103, I think. So that's going to be a potential Purdy pick. And that would be really good. If we could get like maybe like a running back and a receiver at 80 and 89. And then 104, we got Brock Purdy. And I think we'll get it because McCaffrey's over here. So the McCaffrey team's not going to snipe us on Purdy. So it's only going to be this team that took Pearsall early, and that's over here too. So someone would take, at that point, a naked Brock Purdy to snipe from us. So I think we're going to get him at 104, but we'll see. And naked Brock Purdy makes no sense. Like, if you are drafting and you don't have any of the players that go before Brock Purdy, there's absolutely no reason to draft him. The only way he hits is through, good yardage and touchdown totals, and it's a pretty consolidated offense. So if he's hitting, other people in your league, other people in your pool, they're going to be, in your league, other people are going to have good scores. And in your pool, other people are going to have it paired, and they're going to correlate better and beat you. So it makes no sense to take uncorrelated. Like, if you want to take Fields, makes total sense. Drake May makes total sense because you also can get him later. Some other quarterbacks have some like later options. There's no later option for San Fran. Like, it's basically Isaac Urendo is all you'd have, and you don't really want to stack Purdy with Urendo. So it doesn't make sense to draft him. Don't draft these pocket quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford. No reason to draft Stafford if you don't have a Rams player at that point. Maybe Stafford with Tutu, but I wouldn't. Okay. We will take one of Diggs, Golden, or Mooney. I've moved Diggs up more recently. One, because I love Drake May, and I want to be getting more Drake May. And if I have Diggs, it's a really good correlation there. Second, he's like good to go. Like, I genuinely just didn't think, given his age, given what the injury was, torn ACL, I didn't think he'd be good to go in camp. He's good to go right away. He was practicing in camp today. Like, he's their number one wide receiver. I still love Pop Douglas. I'll still take Hunter Henry later on. But, I mean, if I think this offense is going to be really good and he's pretty clear the number one and he's already good to go, like, it makes a ton of sense to be drafting Swan Diggs. Looks like we have a super chat. So we answer this one. Trade Swift for Jennings. Swift was running back 5. Can you clarify, Sir Brooks II, is this like Dynasty, and is it half PPR or full PPR? Because those are both questions I'm going to need the answer to. Because I'm assuming you didn't do like a redraft league. I'm assuming it's Dynasty. So if you don't say anything, I'm going to answer for Dynasty. But let me know on that, and I'll pull up the Dynasty rankings. Swift. Oh, we're going to be up in a second, too. I don't think we're actually going to go running back at this pick, by the way. The only one I'd consider is Aaron Jones. I wouldn't really want anyone else. But at wide receiver, there's still some pretty good options. So I feel like we just treat this as the hero. This is another spot where there's like a pretty clear 3 players. Mooney, Aaron Jones, and Ibuka. And we're going to get one of them. Beautiful. So answer that question. Is it Dynasty for me? In the normal chat. Geez, all 3 of them are there. People are reaching in this draft. If it is Dynasty, you're 100% wanting Jennings in that. Like, especially if Swift is your running back 5, Jennings I have valued out more. Hold on, wait, which do we want here? It probably makes more sense to go Aaron Jones. Even though I don't love Aaron Jones this season, it makes a lot more sense for our current build to get him. Okay. Love Mooney, though. He'd be a great pick at this spot. But yeah, like, first of all, Dynasty, I don't love DeAndre Swift from Dynasty. Second of all, you don't need him as the running back 5. Third of all, Juwan Jennings, like, is going to re-sign this season, probably on a big contract. He's going to be someone they feature pretty heavily. He's probably going to have a very, very good season. Yeah, Jennings. Honestly, I'd do it in redraft too. I've been stocking up on McCaffrey. Oh, hold on. Did you guys see that? You've been stocking up on McCaffrey Kittle stack. How do you feel about it? Yeah, sounds good to me. I got one of those today, I think in like I don't remember what the draft is called. Dalmatian? I don't remember what the draft is called. But yeah, I stacked that with a Purdy today, and I was very, very pleased with that. Obviously, you are, when you have McCaffrey, you're betting on that offense being very good. If McCaffrey stays healthy this season and that offense is humming, Kittle's probably going to crush it as well. Kittle, I have seen, so I took him at 41 here. I've seen him go as early as like the low 30s. More recently, he's been going at like 34 to 36. It's going to start getting too aggressive. Like, I do think Bowers and McBride are better picks this season. If Kittle's going to start going around pick 30, at that point, like, I still definitely think, this top 2 rounds for sure, you can't take Kittle. I think like JT, even like JSN, Josh Allen, Chase Brown, Marv, Adams, Garrett Wilson, I think all of those definitely deserve to be going ahead of him. So if we start seeing him like push into the upper 20s, I'm gonna have a lot of hesitations in drafting him. But as he stands right now in this 43 to 38 range, I'd be hammering George Kittle because he is an unbelievable value in drafts. Like, he's just, the level of upside that he has this season is significant. You want to be getting him on a site like Underdog. Yes, he could have 8 for 150 and 2 literally anytime he steps onto the field, especially given how much of an unknown this wide receiver room is going to be, especially if Pearsall can't stay healthy. Yeah, you should be loading up on Kittle. Okay, haven't put it in yet, but again, we're at this 104. We're expecting to get Brock Purdy. Again, it doesn't make any sense for anyone else to be drafting him here. If we get sniped on him, Tyron Tracy Jr. wouldn't be bad. All right, but we get Purdy. So things are looking great. I'll be honest with you guys. We've got our Lamar, Derrick Henry. We got sniped on the Flowers part. We got our Lamar, Derrick Henry, and we'll probably go after. At this point, it's probably likely. I don't know that. Yeah, Andrew's already gone, so we'll go after likely. We've got that stat going on. We've got Purdy to Juwan Jennings and George Kittle. We've rebounded after, if we're going wide receiver for a little bit, with Puka, Waddle, Jennings, and Stephon Diggs. And we're kind of hitting running back a little bit more. We have 2 old running backs, and so we're probably going to want to take a look at the running back position a little bit more, maybe draft more of them. But I feel good about having Lamar and Purdy. So I don't know. I don't think we need a third quarterback. We can probably draft 2. We can probably do 2 quarterback, 2 tight end in this build, thus giving us more opportunity to draft running back later on. I did have in the title of this video the whole Aiyuk situation. Him basically not having any sort of timeline. Basically, hold on, I'll pull up the exact quote for you guys. Oh, wait. We're going to be up in a second, but I'll still pull up the quote, and I'll read it to you in a second. Okay, 113. Not a great spot for us. I don't want to go with Warren, although Warren is a fine pick at this spot. Keon Coleman honestly would not be bad. I would take him. I would probably take Keon. I don't really want to draft this range running back right now. Quarterback makes no sense for us to take. Keon is top by ADP and in the rankings. All right, we'll take Keon. I've been moving a little bit more into Keon. Just, they're heavily invested in him. He's highly athletic. He's got Josh Allen. You don't have to be that good of a wide receiver to be good with Josh Allen. Maybe he develops to the player. Again, I was off him last season because, the dude can't run routes. He can't get open. He can't separate. But he's highly athletic. And when healthy last year, he wasn't terrible. Getting him this late carries a lot of upside. I don't know. I'm starting to be a little bit more in on his ADP. So, where's the quote? We want the 49ers. Said Aiyuk did a lot with the knee, and he's in a really good place considering all that. What that means in terms of timeline, we're continuing to assess and get information. I think we're encouraged on where he's at, but not anywhere close to having set in stone timeline. You can kind of take that however you want. He's not anywhere close to having a set in stone timeline. To me, that could mean we're not going to tell you, right? And it's no guarantee coming off an injury like this. But it also, people are typically very positive about injury, especially this early. If he doesn't have that sort of timeline, he's definitely not out there, practicing with the team. To me, I just don't see a world where he's going to be 100% to start the season. And so, you're looking at Pearsall, you're looking at Juwan Jennings, being you guys are going to have a very large role. And Pearsall's not even fresh yet. In a couple days, you're going to see if he can go practice. But, there's a reason Juwan Jennings asked for a new contract and is going to get one, is because he's very pivotal to this team. Same thing with Kittle, being how important they are to this team. So I feel like it's stock up for them. I tanked Brandon Aiyuk in the rankings. I just don't know. I don't have any sort of confidence, and you don't want to be drafting a wide receiver you have no confidence in, right? And even when healthy, it's not like he's some crazy league winner. So I wouldn't be drafting him right now, even close to his ADP. All right, we should have planned for this more, but Loveland's a good pick. Kyle Williams wouldn't be bad. Najee probably makes more sense. I know his ADP is dropping. I feel like because we're kind of, thin at running back, we have to take a little bit of risk. I think Najee makes sense because, like, when he's good to go, and it's an eye injury, right? So his body's fine. When he's good to go, I mean, it's a great situation. A good offensive line, a great team. Like, maybe they don't want to give Hampton 30 touches a game. He's clearly going to be their second best running back. It's just like they just kind of don't know. They said the eye gets better every day, but it's like, show us a picture. I don't know. Like, show us something about what this situation looks like. But he's like in the building. He's still there. So if he like came out, next week and was practicing in full, he'd go back to having an ADP of 110, somewhere around that range. And maybe could creep in even higher than that. Could get close to pick 100. So if you get him at 128, this is the lowest he's ever gone all summer. So maybe we can capitalize on something like that. But yeah, I feel like we just kind of need to gain some high upside running backs, basically. And so Tootin 100%, I like at this pick. But I love Loveland. I almost took Loveland at the last pick. I know we said we're going to have Isaiah Likely. But, oh man, Loveland's a way better pick than Likely. And we don't need that much correlation. I really want Tootin and I want Loveland at this pick. I hope this person just makes our decision for us. Thank you. Thank you for making the decision for us. I think you still take Loveland. Even though we have this kind of correlation with Likely, Loveland is set up so well, and he's another player where it's like, I want to have exposure to good teams. So like when I hopefully advance with this team, maybe I make it to the final, I know that the Bears are probably going to have a good offense this season. The Chargers are going to have a good offense. The Bills are going to have a good offense. The Vikings are going to have a good offense. I think the Patriots have a good offense. So I want to have exposure. I don't want to have like a complete fade on everyone on Chicago. Chicago's probably going to be pretty good. They're probably going to have players that outperform their ADP. So I want to have exposure to that. Same thing in Minnesota, same thing in all these teams I just mentioned. So getting little one-offs of some of these very good teams can be a good idea, and it can help you in that playoff. Even if Loveland doesn't go off, Loveland can have 2 touchdowns in week 17. And that is directly taking away from DeAndre Swift, from DJ Moore, from Luther Burden, from Rome Odunze. So having exposure to them kind of helps you not only potentially gain the best player on the team, but just in a random week helps you advance if you have correlation with your player going off and the other players not doing as well. All right. Nick, could you tell me who to draft or who you'd rather draft in a full PPR league between Nico and Brian Thomas Jr. and give me one good reason as to why you're so torn between the two? I'm almost 100% sure the rankings are going to say go with Nico in full PPR. I know it's in half, but I'll just confirm for you in full PPR. I think the biggest reason I'd go Nico is just the target earning ability. He is a target hog, and it's not to say that Brian Thomas Jr. isn't, but like he's not really competing with anyone. Yeah, I have, it's only 4 points, so it's not a crazy amount of difference, but I have Nico Collins. I think that Travis Hunter is very good. Like, I think he's an unbelievable player. I think he's going to be great at like earning targets. And I don't think I can really say that about anyone else on the Texans. And when healthy last season, Nico was unbelievable. So, and I know that Brian Thomas Jr. was as well, but like Nico was crazy good at getting first read targets, just earning high target shares. So I would prefer Nico because I think his ceiling is just a little bit higher. I'll continue that in a second. I feel like maybe Guerrero makes the most sense here. Yeah, I think Guerrero makes the most sense. Again, we have the San Fran stack. So we added in the running back. Like, what if McCaffrey got hurt? This build is unbelievable, right? Because you'd have higher target shares for Kittle and Juwan Jennings. And then you'd also get Guerrero as that lead back. We get Guerrero at an ADP discount. So that makes sense. I want to kind of line up this next pick, and then I'll continue that. But honestly, yeah, the case is basically that I think the target share potential for Nico is significantly higher, whereas Brian Thomas Jr., I just think Travis Hunter is really good and is going to earn a target share. And not that Brian Thomas Jr. isn't an amazing pick, because he is, but I would just slightly lean towards Nico Collins because I think target earning ability is a little bit higher. He's an unbelievable wide receiver. And we think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to take that next step, but like Nico's already there. I guess would be the larger take. All right. No quarterback. There's no reason for us to go with tight end. I mean, Leggett, yeah, obviously we would take him. I feel like, yeah, maybe you just continue adding to wide receiver here, Leggett or Besh. Yeah, it's probably one of those two. I don't think we need to go with another running back. It would be Algier, but I don't think we'd need to. Like, it would be a great pick here. I hope this guy doesn't take him because that's a great value. Yeah, there he goes. All right. We're going to take Palmer and just kind of take 2 Buffalo guys and be like, hopefully I just get one. Nah, I don't think we take Palmer. I don't think we take Algier. Let's take Besh. I don't have like a strong take in him, and this is probably the worst pick that we've made. But just kind of getting a young wide receiver that can break out in the second half of the year could be a little bit better than expected, falling by ADP because there's been no news yet. But that's just because camps haven't opened up. 12-team full PPR, 5th round keeper, Chase Brown. 5th round keeper, Chase Brown, or 12th round Chuba Hubbard at a loss. That one's pretty close. I'm just not a huge Chuba Hubbard fan, so I think I would just keep Chase Brown in the 12th or in the 5th round. My guess is if you ran that through some sort of like value algorithm that we have on the site, it probably says Chuba, because Chuba's what, like a 5th round pick? Let me see. PPR, because I have the PPR rankings up right now. Chuba is the 506. Yeah, so he's a mid 5th round pick. You're getting technically 7 rounds of value, but it's less valuable getting rounds of value later on. And Chase Brown I have as the 211, so a late 2nd round pick. I'd rather Chase Brown. You lock up someone that could be a league winner. You get that like running back that like if something goes south in the first couple rounds and you have to keep going, or not even south. I mean, I love starting off wide receiver, but if you had to start off wide receiver, quarterback, tight end heavy, you're still getting someone that has that ceiling. If I did that and I had Chuba, I'd still be like, well, I don't love Chuba even as running back 2. So I'd feel still obligated to kind of take a running back early. So I'd go Brown. 7th spot, the hardest. If Chase, Bijan, Barkley, blah, 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 come out, who do you choose? Again, I think it's, Puka, and then I think it's Neighbors. And because I feel locked in on that decision at this point, I'm starting to like the mid. Okay, 176. We still need running back, but this is a bad range for running back, so I don't want to be touching them. I'd be fine with Wandale at this spot. Definitely not going tight end. Definitely not going quarterback. So I guess we just take Wandale, who is not the top by both of them, but we'll take Wandale. We have 16, 17, 18. We have 3 picks left. I'm not going to take another quarterback. I'm not going to take another tight end. Puka, Waddle, Jawan, Diggs, Coleman, Besh. Okay. Wandale. I think we probably have to take 2 running backs and a receiver. Probably a 6-2, 8-2 build. A 2-6-8-2 build. Yeah, I think that's what we have to do. I don't think we can afford to take 1 running back here. Derrick Henry and Aaron Jones are a million years old. Isaac Urendo is a pure backup, and Naji Harris might not have an eye. Like, we need to be taking some running backs at these picks. I would take Rico. Again, okay, there goes Rico. I would take Marshawn Lloyd. I would take Will Shipley as like a direct backup. But yeah, running back really, really falls off in this range. It's not great. So I think I would take one of those 2 if they're there. Then I would go wide receiver in 17. And then I'd end 18 at running back, because once you kind of pass this range, I don't feel great about most of these options. I mean, I could definitely take Keaton Mitchell in 18 and just kind of say I have Derrick Henry and Mitchell. I mean, just keep locking up all those points there. I could honestly take Justice Hill. That's not a bad stack. So we actually have options later on. But I think I want to take Marshawn Lloyd. I really do think he's going to win that battle. There's no clear wide receiver we like have to be taking here. Yeah. All right, we'll take Marshawn Lloyd. ADP-wise, McMillan was a value, but I just don't see it. Like, Igbuka's going to have a great rookie season. So I don't see why we need to be targeting McMillan. Your team is Puka, Jacobs, T. Should you take Marv or Marion Hampton? Chuba, maybe Marv or Hampton. It's round 4. If you go wide receiver, the running back drop-off is kind of big. Henderson, Harvey, and Monty. If you already have, I guess I have no idea what the format you're talking about. So sorry about that. I have no idea what the format you're talking about is, but if you have Puka and T, I mean, I need to know the format. Let's just assume half PPR, or, I have the full PPR rankings up. We'll just look at what those are. Like, Marv is definitely ahead in the full PPR rankings. I'll pull up half PPR, because I think Marv is going to be ahead in both of them. But if you're scared about the running back drop-off, it's really close. So it's really close in half PPR. If you're scared about the drop-off, go Hampton and just do an even build. And I think that's fine, because Hampton's going to be a stud this year. The round 5 wide receivers are better, where I'm probably Smitty. Oh. Yeah. And if you like that, then go with Martin Hampton and take the wide receiver next. Would you be against taking Amon-Ra over Puka Neighbors? I would be. I don't think you should be doing that. Puka and Neighbors have an unbelievable ceiling this season. Amon-Ra does, but he's more of that safe pick. That guy that's probably going to finish in that 5 to 7 range. A little bit of concern with the regression of the offense. I'm locked in. Puka and Neighbors should be the 7-8 pick this season. They're incredible picks. And I just think that it's just a really good pick for Amon-Ra. Okay, I actually think I'll probably go with Keaton, just because if Justice Hill's taken, I want that backup. I want to say, okay, I locked in Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell. I'm just going to get the running back points on this team. If Derrick Henry were to go down, I could still benefit. A lot of people say don't draft like that on Underdog, but I don't see that as being the case. If Derrick Henry has a league-winning season and then gets hurt in week 16, I have Keaton Mitchell, who will have a very, very low advancement rate because people are scared to take the handcuff. They don't want to be doing it. They think it limits their ceiling. And all of a sudden, Keaton Mitchell did nothing, but then maybe goes out there in week 17 and has a $150 and a score, and I win. Plus, also, there's going to be games where they crush it, and maybe he does great, and then they also, if they crushed it, and Derrick Henry has 3 touchdowns, maybe he comes off the field, and Keaton Mitchell does something in the second half. So I'm cool taking the both of them. But I think that's it. We only need these 6 running backs. So who's our favorite receiver? I mean, I'm probably still just going to double, triple, quadruple down on Keenan Allen. I think he's talented enough to where someone wants him. He would have to retire knowing that teams out there are willing to pay him a lot of money, and he would perform pretty well in those teams. I just don't see that as being an outcome. He is not cooked. He's not what he was, but someone is willing to pay him. I don't see him retiring. I just don't see it happening. But I'm willing to die on that hill. In the mid 18th round, give me Keenan Allen. I'm willing to be wrong. And if he ends up what if Rashee Rice got an 8-game suspension or something? You don't think Kansas City is going to be like, hey, Keenan, can you come in here for a bit? And all of a sudden his ADP skyrockets. And to get him in 18, I mean, look at these scrubs. These guys aren't doing anything. So if you really want to be betting on someone in 18, you grab Keenan Allen, who could actually do something. All right, I think this team is great. Lamar and Purdy, both stacked. Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Najee, Guerrero, Lloyd, and Mitchell. Obviously our weakest position, but we drafted 6 of them, which is decent. Puka, Waddle, Jawan, Diggs, Coleman, Besh, Wandale, and Keenan Allen. And then we've got Kittle and Colson Loveland. I think a great duo at tight end. All right, join into one. We're going to do another one. So join in now if you guys want to enter. We'll do another Best Ball Mania. Hopefully things go as well, but hopefully also don't get a mid first round pick, so we can do something different in this one. Wait, where did you get that data from? I don't know what you're referencing. If we're talking about the Superflex data for the app, it's from 5 or 6 million sleeper leagues. Which I don't think people fully comprehend how much of an advantage it has doing that. No, there's not a single other person in this industry who has figured out how to collect. I don't remember if it's 5 or 6 million, but 5 or 6 million redraft leagues. Everyone has this data on Underdog, and people do simulations from Underdog, but no one has this data from redraft leagues. So for you to be able to type in, I'm in a 12-team half PPR 2 flex league, and to see the results on what is most beneficial to draft at that point for your format, no one else really has access to that data. So it's a huge thing that is in the app, available to anyone who has premium on the website. Full PPR. Would you keep Worthy in the 7th or Hawkinson in the 11th? Worthy in the 7th is probably a better value there. Took your advice on going one quarterback super stacks for weekly winners. You got an Eagles stack, a Cowboys mini stack, Javonte Niners mini stack. Aiyuk, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, again, I think weekly winners, your best bet is to say, I'm not building a quote-unquote strong team where I'm drafting like 3 quarterbacks, multiple tight ends. Just go all in on one team. Go Eagles, right? Draft Hurts, draft Saquon, draft A.J. Brown. I don't know if you can actually do that combination. Saquon, A.J. Brown is probably a tough one to get together. But go all in on a team and then do mini stacks around that. You know plenty of weeks it's not going to hit, but there's going to be weeks with every single team. You can do this with the Jaguars. You can do this for the Vikings. You can do this for the Chargers. Wherever it works out in your draft, super stack a team, do minis off that. And there's going to be a handful of games for every single team where they're going to vastly outperform expectations. And you're going to hit, because when that happens, it correlates with the other team. And if you've mini stacked a bunch of these weeks, then you're going to hit a few times. I think it's by far the best strategy in that format. Love the videos. Appreciate it. 10 team, half PPR, 3 keepers. You're keeping Gibbs for a first. Who should your other 2 be? You have Garrett Wilson in the 10th, Joe Burrow in the 10th, and Chase Brown. It's easily Garrett Wilson and Chase Brown. Not close. And those are great keepers. It's just, you have to just go by value there. I know you might want to be like, oh, well, I have maybe 2 running backs. Great. Now you have 2 really high-end running backs, and one of them only costs you 11th round pick. It's just a much better value than Burrow. All right. I mean, unfortunate that our top 9 that we love all went, but we'll take Nico with this pick. Again, I talked about him before. I think the ceiling for Nico Collins this season is really, really high from a target earning perspective. I think he's by far the best pass catcher on that team. Offensive line situation has not been fixed. They still have a very bad offensive line, but is what it is. I still think, I think Nico's the 10, but again, I like that top 9 because I think the top 9 is locked in. I wouldn't say I'm locked in with Nico. I think you make an argument for Christian McCaffrey. You can make an argument for Genty, honestly, at that spot. You could make arguments for Amon-Ra and Brian Thomas. All right, I kind of don't want to do another Derrick Henry team, so why don't we just do Drake London? We'll do a Nico Collins, Drake London build. Again, Derrick Henry's probably the play at this spot, but I want to show you guys a little bit different build. And maybe we'll go like super wide receiver heavy in this one. I mean, we kind of did that one before, but we'll see if we can do it again in this one. Just joined. You have a draft spot preference in a 10-team league. I don't have a huge preference this season. I really think there's like a genuine argument for every single spot this season being really, really good. In a 10-team league, I mean, technically at pick 10, you're locking in 2 unbelievable players, but you're doing that anyways for the most part. I don't know. 10-team league, I'd probably want like the general 3 or 4 pick, or I would want like 9, 10. I feel like those would be my preferences, but I don't have a super strong take. I really think like pick doesn't matter that much this season. You can build a really strong team from any pick. Started a Dynasty today. Chase, Nico, London, and Superflex. What do you think? I mean, it sounds like a great start. I don't know what the quarterback situation's like. Don't forego quarterback too long in Dynasty Superflex, but obviously those are great wide receivers, and I love starting off Dynasty leagues wide receiver heavy. How many auction dollars would Travion and Ken Walker go for in 14-team half PPR? Well, I can tell you what I have them projected for right now in a 12-team, and it'd be basically the same. They both go for about $20. What would actually happen? I don't remember off the top of my head. Would it be less money in a 14? It would be, right? A little bit less, I think. Someone help me in the chat. I feel like in a 14-team league, technically an auction value would go down. I don't think it would be that much of a difference personally. About $20 they should go for. Dynasty full PPR running backs. Okay, you just listed a million. Are you just saying rate my team? Is that what? I'll look at it in a second. All right, I actually typically hate this range of the draft. It's like 34 range. I feel like I'm reaching on whoever I draft. We have Nico and we have Drake London. Okay, so we have 2 quarterback options later on, but we're in a range for quarterback. I mean, Brees probably makes the most sense. If we can't get Brees, I today adjusted the rankings to put Josh Allen over Terry McLaurin. Part of why I like Terry McLaurin in this spot, though, is you can go Terry McLaurin and then Jaden Daniels at the next pick. So part of me wants to do that. Again, I don't think this situation for Terry McLaurin is going to be a problem. I don't love that he's holding out, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. I love wide receiver heavy starts. I think I'm going to still take Terry McLaurin here. I don't think I'm also leaving a quarterback on the board. I assume that Josh Allen and Lamar will go in these picks, and I'm assuming these teams are not going to double dip. So my assumption would be that I would get Jaden Daniels at this one unless someone wants Jaden Daniels, but they also don't have McLaurin. I do. So I don't know. I when I get to this spot, I do like going that like McLaurin, Jaden Daniels, and then getting Debo a little bit later on. So we'll see. I guess theoretically, if this guy autos, he could technically, hopefully he takes Rasheed, but he could technically take Jaden. All right. Oh, I didn't realize there was another team. Oh, yeah, the other team has Josh Allen, so I'm not going to go Jaden Daniels. It makes no sense. All right, it worked out. Yeah, it's just something I like to do. And again, you always do McLaurin, then Jaden Daniels, just because if I take Daniels, like someone's going to take McLaurin with, like that worthy pick would have probably been Terry McLaurin. So now we already have the Jaden Daniels and McLaurin stack. Beautiful. Very high upside stack as well. Because when that team is trailing and Terry McLaurin gets loose deep a few times and Jaden Daniels is running, like we have a lot of upside. Okay, if we're talking about like rate my team here, Sir Brooks. Oh, wait. Yeah, you asked the question. Okay. Again, it's still Juwan. Especially in full PPR Dynasty, 100%. It's Juwan Jennings. Start 3 wide receivers, 2, 3 flex, yeah. It is Juwan Jennings by a mile. Just wanted to say thank you for giving me a winning team in at least one of my 2 redraft leagues for the past 6 years running. That is quite impressive. I tell you, I do not have that high of a rate. Glad you guys do. In the running back tiers video, you said you're looking to have 2 of the top 22 running backs for your 1-2. Are there any other sweeping principles such as that for other positions? I do go over one in the quarterback video tomorrow. Basically being like, if you can lock in one of the top 4, maybe 5, if Burrow's at value, quarterbacks, sure. I want them to be at ADP discount. I want to feel good about the team and not love another like running back or wide receiver. If you don't do that, my rule is basically wait and draft 1 or 2 of the tier 4 quarterbacks, which we'll go over tomorrow's video. But that is the general range of like the Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, Fields, May, Herbert. Technically, Trevor Lawrence is in tier 5, I think, for the video, but he would kind of count in that if you're taking a second one. That's another one where it's like take one early or take one late. I would kind of say the same thing for tight end, take one of the top 3 or go super late. I wouldn't say there's anything at wide receiver. I like a lot of wide receivers. I want as many top end wide receivers, but there's no like hard and fast rule. I will say, look at this run. Oh my goodness. Quite a run at the wide receiver position happening right now. But I have no rule at wide receiver right now. Just try and get as many good ones as you can. All right. You all know I love Ken Walker. He'd be a great pick at 58. If we can't get him, which we can't, Joe Mixon obviously makes sense for us. If we're going to go with Nico Collins, we can get a nice little Houston stack. Maybe Joe Mixon can stay healthy this season. Maybe the offensive line plays better than we think. Yeah. Ton of sense going to Joe Mixon. Also, he's really good, and he's vastly outperformed this ADP like every single year. He showed no signs of decline last year. When healthy, he is going to be featured. Makes too much sense to go after him. Okay, it's 63. You guys know I really like Olave. I really like Harvey. I think with our build, I would be very interested in Harvey here. And again, we're kind of looking at that a little bit of a drop-off in my eyes. Please give us Harvey. He already has 2 running backs. I don't think he would take Harvey. Only having Worthy and Dunze would make me feel not amazing here. Takes Addison. Yeah. Okay. I like this. Jaden Daniels, Joe Mixon, RJ Harvey, Nico, Drake London, Terry McLaurin. Beautiful. I like how this start has occurred. I like that we also had an early tight end build last time. We're going to a late tight end build in this one. 2 different builds here. 10 team, full PPR, 2 back, 2 receiver, 2 flex. You have the 101. Is it Bijan or Chase? It's really, you got to do the mocks. Like, you got to kind of figure out how you like your teams, how they turn out. In full PPR, I'm pretty sure I have Jamar Chase as the 101. I would feel comfortable taking Chase as the 101. But it really comes down to draft strategy. Like, do you like your teams more if you start off running back and then go heavy at wide receiver? I think my lean would be to take Chase because there are some pretty good running backs available at that second round spot, but I'm not going to tell someone not to take Bijan Robinson. He's going to be a great pick this season. But for me, I'd probably take Jamar Chase. It is a format that slightly favors wide receiver. You can start 4 of them. It's full PPR. I'd probably take Chase. Asking specifically for 12-team full PPR, Superflex, 3 wide receiver, auction league. Okay. Of course, everything depends on what values are present in the draft, but in a vacuum, where most players go at expected price point. Was there a first question involved with that? Oh, okay. Everything I said holds true. I would want to spend money on the later quarterbacks. Typically, in auction, I would probably spend money on the later tight ends too because you get them at a crazy discount. I would want the top end running backs and receivers. So I would spend up for those guys. You can get a really good discount on quarterbacks and tight ends this season. Earlier, he passed on Golden Grab's Diggs. Do you draft with week 17 correlation in mind? To a degree, I just like Diggs more than Golden. I think he's going to have a lot more value. Yes, I care about week 17, but I don't really draft the team with too much of that in mind. Didn't have the chart pulled up. Maybe if I had seen that, would have gone with Golden. But also Golden scares me to some degree, just not knowing how much they're going to throw the ball. They have a ton of great playmakers on that team, especially when Christian Watson comes back. I don't know if there's a world Golden actually has a large target share. And so straight up, like, I think Diggs is just going to provide more value to my team. And I also like opening up the opportunity for the Drake May stack, whereas I don't really like stacking Jordan Love that much. I think Golden's fine, but I think Diggs is a better pick. I think we're leaning wide receiver at this spot. I don't think, it doesn't make that much sense to go running back here. For wide receiver, we're good with Shakir. We unfortunately can't get Debo. It didn't really come out to where we could have drafted him. Tight end's a no. Quarterback's a no. Yeah, running back's a no. All right. I guess we'll just take Mooney. Because we have Drake London. Yeah. All right. We'll take Mooney in London. We'll probably go after Michael Penix Jr. We'll remind ourselves. I very much don't want to accidentally draft him, but we'll remind ourselves that he should be on the board. I feel like I do that sometimes. I kind of cue that player up and then I screw myself over because I forget to take them or I forget to make the pick and then we auto pick them. I still don't want running back at that spot. So I like Pittman over Downs. I should probably start taking Downs a little bit more often because the ADP is starting to get pretty wide. And I have a crazy amount of Pittman and almost no Josh Downs. So maybe I should do that in this one, is just take Downs. I don't mind going Hawkinson, though. Oh, there goes Hawkinson. All right. Maybe we should take Downs again. I probably have like 20% exposure to Pittman and like 0 Downs. That's probably not what I should do. I still wholeheartedly believe that Pickens is the better pick. I think that, especially in a redraft league, I'd 100% draft Pickens first. I think he is a better player. I think he's going to be on the field more. Like, he's going to be on the field every play. Josh Downs is not going to be on the field when they do 2 wide receiver sets. So that's not great for Josh Downs. I don't know. I think there's just a lot more risk to Downs. And I just think Pittman's a better player. He's proven that over his career that he's an unbelievable player. So I would rather draft him, but I don't want to have 0% exposure to what is probably only like a 70-30 in my mind. You play in an 8-team league. Really competitive. Everyone's locked in. You're wondering if you can rank the best spots. Again, I don't think spot matters that much. And I feel like it comes down to your own player takes. Like an 8-team league, how do you feel about the decision between like taking Saquon, taking Bijan, taking Jefferson? Like, do you really want those players? Do you really think they're a lot better than the back half of round one? I would say for me, I guess I'd probably prefer a tail end. I love Puka. I love Neighbors. If I could start off Puka and Neighbors in an 8-team league, I'm going to feel pretty good about that because my next pick is going to be what? Maybe I could double dip on like a Jacobs, Chase Brown. I don't know, something like that. Like I feel like I could still get running back at the next pick. I think that'd be my lean, would be the tail end. But it's also an 8-team league. Like I need the upside. So if I wanted to go the 101 and I wanted to take Chase Brown and then I'd get probably like Achane and Drake London, well, that's also an unbelievable start. So it's kind of hard to judge in an 8-team league. But it's got to come down to your individual player takes this season because every single pick is totally fine to make. If people think 11, 12 are elite spots to pick, then that mean 4 and 5 are the best. I mean, 4 or 5 is still really good, obviously, because you lock in like a Bijan, Jefferson, probably Bijan, Jefferson, Saquon is probably like what you're looking at, that pick. Yeah, you lock in one of them. You probably could get like Genty at the next pick, and then you're still looking at like, that London, AJ Brown, JT range. But it's player takes based. You gotta look at the player takes you like and do mock drafts and see what you like. All right, this is the situation we needed to avoid of not auto drafting Penix here. We don't have a tight end yet. Mark Andrews is fine, but I don't know that we have to go after him. I like Shaheed a lot, so maybe we can go with Shaheed. Running back, I mean, I like Tracy, but I'm not in love. Arizona, we don't have any Arizona. It doesn't make sense to go there. Let's go Shaheed. We want that weekly upside. Just think he's a very good player, very locked in. They're going to be throwing the ball a ton, gets a ton of dome games. Like, he's just a good value this season. He correlates well with this format, being a very boom-bust player. After that, though, I mean, maybe we do go Tracy. Kyler's becoming a good value, but we don't have Arizona. Like, it doesn't make sense for us to grab him. There's really no correlation after it, and we want Penix because we already have the extreme correlation for Penix. Thank you for taking him. Okay, so we'll take Tracy. I think definitely the best running back still on the board. Thank goodness, because if Tracy was gone there, I really don't know who would have taken. There you all go. You've mentioned the large drop-off at wide receiver. Where's the drop-off? Kind of the range we're in right now. I see a mini drop-off after we get... I mean, watch the wide receiver video for the tier drop-offs. But after we get into, like... The big drop-off is after that top, like, 40. I think it's a pretty clear drop. But especially once you leave the top 50. Which is basically once you hit the double-digit rounds, you hit, like, round 10. It's a cliff into all these guys. Like, when you're looking at this range of, like, Jaden Higgins... Shaheed I like, but in this format, not really in redraft. Keon, Trey Harris, Bateman, Burden, Kirk, Kyle Williams, down into like Marquise Brown, Aiyuk, Mims, Quentin, Leggett, Tillman, Dubs. Like, these guys are not players that we're expecting are going to be like helping us win a championship. So once you exit the top 50, basically in that double-digit round, it's really, really thin at receiver. So I like having a lot of my receivers done by that range. And there's like kind of that like 40 through 50 range where it's like the tail end of what you can get. So the top 40 is where I kind of want to load up on those receivers. A lot of really good options in that range. Tight ends you're looking to grab as 1-2 late for $1. You heard $1 tight ends. Let's see. You are looking at, I mean, it depends what you can get, but I really like Tyler Warren, Loveland, Goddard, Tucker Craft. You can get him for $1. Ferguson, likely Pitts. Hunter Henry, Elijah Arroyo now. You probably don't have to go past that, but you can probably get all those guys for very, very cheap. All right, we're going to be up in like 2 seconds here. 130. Still a little early for Penix, but we probably want to lock it in. We don't have a tight end yet, so Goddard is probably the play. Kirk, what is our quarterback situation looking like here? Yeah, I think Goddard's the play. I was looking at if Stroud was still available, but he's not available. Because with Kirk, I mean, I have Nico and Mixon. Kind of curious who ended up taking Stroud here. Was this a naked Stroud? Why would you do that? CJ Stroud's another player you never should be taking naked. And I should almost like punish this person for doing that and not give them Christian Kirk. Okay, someone else took Christian Kirk. Good. They don't deserve him. While I think Trevor Lawrence is a much better pick than Michael Penix Jr. for our team, if we're going to draft Mooney and we're going to draft Drake London and who knows, maybe draft Kyle Pitts, it makes more sense for us to go after Michael Penix Jr. So we'll probably end up doing that. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence is a great value at this pick. And if someone were to snipe us here for Penix, which they don't, I would take Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, Penix makes a ton of sense. So we're good on our stacks. That's looking great. Tight end's going to need to be filled in. Running back's going to need a little bit of help. But I like this build as well. As you guys can see, I typically do builds that kind of avoid running back. Last season, that did not work out, and that's why we see a lot of running backs going earlier this season. Over time, in this best ball format, it is much more optimal to go heavy wide receiver and to try and hit running backs later on, especially when we consider late season. The championship weeks are, 14, 15, and 16. Those are weeks when we have injuries to running backs. Typically, everyone stayed healthy last season, but typically we have injuries to running back. We have teams tanking. We have guys, young guys kind of starting to break out or getting their run. When you can build a team that goes heavy at wide receiver and hits, and then also draft some of these handcuffs or maybe just these running backs in ambiguous backfields that we just don't know the situation yet. If you hit on those guys too, your team is so much better than teams that went after, running back early. Also, running back early is kind of like it's a season-long play. It's something that stabilizes your team, maybe leads to a higher advancement rate. But on a week-to-week basis, you can get crushed. If Derrick Henry goes off, but then just happens to have 80 scoreless yards in the first week of the fantasy playoffs, during the season, that doesn't hurt you that much because he has so many good games. Best ball just is total points in the season. He still helps you advance. But because running backs can have that one dud and you've been relying on them to carry you through the season, if you don't have those wide receivers, it can hurt you on that one weekend because you have to keep advancing. I don't know. I love teams that draft wide receiver early. I just don't think people are going heavy enough this season because of what we saw last season and that so many injuries to wide receiver, so much health at running back. It's unlikely to repeat again this season. Okay. That being said, we need some running backs on the team. Also, people have been fading Jaden Blue because of this weird report that he's lazy. They did have character concerns, but apparently the report was not even from someone who has any sort of communication with the team. So don't really believe it. I think we capitalize on suppressed ADP or depressed ADP from Jaden Blue right now. We have no idea. And I'll be honest, the images, the videos from Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders from day one of camp look pathetic. I mean, they look slow. They look like they have no juice, no cutting ability. Again, it's day one of camp. They looked pretty terrible. We have no idea what's going to happen. But if Jaden Blue were to win the job, or at least win a strong role at 154, he's a good value. But they did say he had injury concerns and character concerns coming out. I think Algier is probably the play here. Builds with our Atlanta stack. If you had Bijan get injured, Algier is going to have a ton of touches. And also that would help Penix out. That would help Algier. It would just correlate well with our team. It looks like who took Pitts at 150? It's always so weird to me when people reach on a player like Pitts when they don't have any sort of correlation with them. Because it's if you think Pitts is going to be really good, you should be drafting Atlanta players, right? But yeah. Let's take Algier. So we've got quarterback is set. Now we now have Mixon, Harvey, Tracy, Blue, and Algier. I feel pretty good with that core running back. Wide receiver, Nico, London, McLaurin, Mooney, Josh Downs, and Shaheed, and then only... Okay, so we're going to go with 3 tight ends. We have 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 4 picks left. 2 of them are going to be tight end. We might do 2 wide receiver, although it'll depend on kind of what value presents itself, but definitely 2 more tight ends. Okay. It's a lot of comments here, Process Results. We got to get to someone else. Personally, how would you attack the first 4 to 5? Every time someone comments, it jumps it. How would you attack the first 4 to 5 rounds with the 4 pick in a 10-man, 3 wide receiver league? Okay. If you have the 4 pick, obviously it depends on what gets taken, but in 3 wide receiver, if you can get one of Chase or Jefferson, I would do it. If not, I'll pull up the specific 3 wide receiver rankings. If not, you'd consider CD in 3 wide receiver. All right. So if you can get one of Chase, Jefferson, or Lamb, go with them. If not, go with Bijan or Saquon, whichever you prefer in that format. After that, you go hero. So you probably do not draft another running back unless you can getting like Achane in round 2. Like unless that is happening, you are not taking, literally unless you are getting one of Bijan, Saquon, Gibbs, McCaffrey, Genty, or Achane. Unless that is your second round pick, which it is probably not going to be. Don't go with the running back. Double dip at wide receiver after that just to make up because wide receiver is so important. So go running back, 2 wide receivers, and then it really depends on value. You kind of have to see what's on the board there. If you end up with wide receiver, I'd still be totally fine going 3 wide receivers in a row. But I would say my goal through 4 rounds would be 1 running back and 3 receivers. However you kind of want to divvy that up. And it really just comes down to what happens in round 1, how you finish that off at. But that would be my goal. First 4 rounds is 1 running back, 4 receivers, or 3 receivers. Then we can start talking about maybe if like Kittle is there, but he probably won't be. But my goal would probably be to do probably late quarterback and late tight end in that format. Okay, Gesicki's an option. We'll hope Arroyo doesn't get sniped too late. I would consider going Gesicki and then Arroyo just back to back here. But Gesicki, there's no running back we want. There's no wide receiver we need. All right. Take Gesicki. Gesicki, you're basically just hoping for a injury. Like, he's not going to have that much value on a week-to-week basis. He'll have random touchdowns, random spike weeks, but you kind of need Chase or Higgins to get hurt for Gesicki to reach his potential. But if that did happen, he's going to vastly outperform this ADP on those weeks. You only need it to happen for a few weeks. If it happens, in the fantasy playoffs, wheels up, obviously. But yeah, I think Arroyo, obviously we have Noah Fant being cut. They are fully locked in with Arroyo. I think because it happened so late, people haven't had enough time to really talk about this. Like, they love this kid. They said he could have been, I forget if it was a top 10 or top 15 pick in the draft. Like, they said he could have been that good and not gotten hurt in college. They're talking about him running like a full route tree. Like, they're very clearly going to use him as like a pass catcher, as a wide receiver on this team. And when you look at it, it makes sense, right? They've got Cooper Kupp, who probably can't stay healthy. They've got, and if he can't stay healthy, it's still only him and JSN. You're going to throw, obviously, 182 for Keenan. You're going to throw to the running backs, but like they're going to need to use the tight end position, and Arroyo is someone that they are just so locked in with. So I would be hammering him right now. His ADP is going to skyrocket. It's going to get to this range. It might get higher in this range. Round 16, as much as you can, be drafting him. Probably should have seen it coming. I had it factored in a little bit, but I didn't have it factored in enough. I should have taken a lot more of him as like a free pick in the last round, but that is also why there's a difference between drafting early and late and why you kind of want to do it throughout the summer. When you draft early, you get that potential value, right? You draft some players. I had a team where I drafted early. I got Harvey at like pick 160. Like, that's how late Harvey was going when you could have drafted him when we thought he was good before the NFL draft. So it's like doing drafts early can give you that sort of benefit, but doing drafts late gives you knowledge, right? We know come August who made teams, who's hurt, who's going to have a good role. So the teams are much sharper. Plus, you're also drafting against weaker opponents typically, but the ADP value is worse. So it's like we now know at this point, Arroyo's a great pick. He's a great pick in this like 15, 16 range. We didn't know that for sure early in the summer, but you could have gotten the discount. But now, yes, it'll be more expensive, but the teams you're going to start drafting in the next couple of weeks are going to have so much more knowledge that into like what's actually happening in camps that they're just going to be better teams overall. So I like taking a full approach throughout the entire summer, but that's why also sometimes ADP value doesn't matter too much when you're saying, oh, you can't draft him like 16, 17, he was going in 20. Yeah, but those teams taking him in 20 might not have had the knowledge that we have right now. A lot of them would have taken Rice early. They would have taken Aiyuk early that like they shouldn't have been doing. Okay. Half BPR, 10-teamer. What's the guys? If we ask another, what's the best spot to draft? I'm telling you, it's got to be personal preference because they're all great this season. 1 or 3 between those two in half PPR, I would say 3. I prefer that, and my goal would probably to go hero. I'd probably take one of Saquon or Bijan, and then I would go kind of wide receiver heavy after that. But again, it's got to be personal preference. All right, 17, Marshawn Lloyd, beautiful. I don't know that we need Lloyd, but there's no real wide receivers that are like standing out as great values right now. I like Marshawn Lloyd a lot. We did forego running back for a long time, so I think he's definitely the play. And we will take a wide receiver with the next pick. We have Penix. I don't want to take like Ray McLeod here. I think maybe Noah Brown. I'm assuming he's fine from the injury. I haven't actually seen any sort of reports. He went down with a scary injury earlier in the offseason. I think he's good to go from that. And I basically just get my exposure to him through Jaden Daniels. He is actually a player that like has produced when given opportunity. He's a player that the coaching staff loves. He'll be out there probably, I don't know if he's going to be out there in 2 wide receiver sets over Debo, but he's going to have a pretty large role in the team, pretty clearly in the top 3. And he goes undrafted in a lot of leagues. So that could benefit you in the fantasy playoffs if he happens to have like 2 long touchdowns. He's a player that can hit deep downfield. Yeah, I don't think we've had. There's been no news. I would love to have probably looked that up before drafting him there, but I think I'm still good with going him there. All right. There's the team. I think everything turned out well. Wide receiver is probably our weakest, but like Nico, London, McLaurin, that start helped us out a lot. And then Mooney, Downs, Shaheed, and Noah Brown. Like, I think that's still a great room. Dallas Goedert, Gesicki, Arroyo is going to seem weak, but again, Arroyo is going to have a pretty large role this season. Gesicki has upside, and Goddard is going to be like a stable option for us. And then obviously we feel good about Penix and Jane Daniels. So that's the squad. You guys can kind of look at the end of the draft coming up here. I'll try and fire off like a few of these, a few really quick. Where can I find those must draft picks on the app? Find me. So if you want, you should be following me, and then you can kind of find them. But if you go into like my feed and you do view leaderboard, and then you find, I guess I'm lower. I should probably add a search button. I'm scared to add things because Apple has been declining the build sometimes, and we have a build that's approved. But you basically have to find me. I have a decent amount of followers. It's Nick Zalek, FFA. Find me, go to my profile, follow me, and then you can just always keep up to date with where my must drafts are for all those. Let's see. Let's smash the like button. Let's do that. Definitely. If you say that Puka, Neighbors, Amon-Ra project out to be early first-round picks, it's just that there are so many wide receivers this year, wouldn't that present inherent value in an auction league? Yeah, unless they go for the same price. I mean, you just don't know in an auction league. Like sometimes players just go for a lot more. But yes, if people can't afford it, and that's why I'd queue up. Like if you don't want to go after like Chase, Lamb, queue all them up, get people's money down. And yeah, like Puka, Neighbors, Amon-Ra should probably be early first-round picks. And so if they're going to come at a discount, you probably do want to lean them over the other ones. I have it right now. Like Chase and Lamb are worth like, this is what I have up right now. I have 3 wide receiver full PPR up right now for like $72 each. I have them worth like 62. So it's like a $10 difference, which is probably what you'll see in a draft. But I could see them outperforming them. So yeah, they're great picks. As a Pats fan, are you more optimistic for May than Mac Jones? Yeah, significantly more optimistic, especially for fantasy because of the mobility. But May, kind of know is a much, much, much better prospect. Yeah, we're very, very excited about May. And Mac Jones was always, kind of capped in what he could be. Okay, that'll do it for this one. Watch tomorrow's video, especially for those of you who've been asking quarterback questions. It's like I don't even know how long it is, like an hour, 10 minutes on quarterbacks and all the tiers and all the strategy for quarterback this year. So watch that one. And then Friday is probably going to be the tight end ranking. So we're going to have 2 weeks in a row where all the rankings are out there, all my thoughts on a ton of different players. So watch those 2 videos, and I'll catch you guys all on the stream next Tuesday again, 6 p.m. Eastern, every single Tuesday night. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hit the like button still here. Subscribe if you're new. Catch you all in the next one.